Welcome everyone. I had a lot going on this past weekend, including the Bay Area Regionals. The PokeGatrs were even better hosts than usual at SF State with a huge space to hold the 62 trainers here plus judges. That was a couple less than expected, so we only went 6 rounds instead of 7. And after a lot of thinking it over, this is the team of 6 I decided on, with Lantern in the 6th spot to help with Azumarill, Skarmory, and Bastiodon. But I didn't really trust it like I should have, and in hindsight, I should have went with my own Skarmory to help deal with those opposing ones, but I fell too in love with Altaria from winning the Tempest and Kingdom Cups. My first opponent had almost the exact same team as me, but with Wishcash instead of Lantern. I decided to lead with Altaria in case he goes with Wishcash, or a Medicham lead, and then Venusaur for his 2 water types, and Azumarill for his Medi and Altaria. And it is Medicham to start, which I should win this matchup. I know I can take a power up punch to start because that was too fast for an ice punch. Go to the sky attack, make him burn his first shield, and then this time I think it could be ice punch, but it is another power up punch they got me with. And then I fell for another one. I just couldn't risk an ice punch there since I had sky attack ready to go. But at this point, after getting a second shield out, I decided to switch to Azumarill as a harder counter that can take a power up punch no problem. And then I'm going to try and wear it down with just Bubble. He does get off one more power up punch before I knock it out. I have a lot of energy stored. And then it ends up being the mirror match. So I felt okay about this since I can get my play roughs off pretty fast with all this stored energy. But then he's gonna get his first one, and that almost knocks me out. And I'm thinking if I can get to an ice beam there, but nope, I have to come in with Venusaur to finish it off. And because of that, I have to take a huge ice beam to the face, knock it out with just Vine Whip, have energy stored for his last Pokemon, but it ends up being Bastiodon. And Frenzy Plant will do decent damage there, but I'm not going to be able to finish it off in time. And with Altaria as my last Pokemon, I'm in bad shape here. Maybe if I could have got to that Sky Attack, I would have finished it, but really needed to get Dragon Pulse, which wasn't going to happen. So then I changed up my team to make up for my mistake of not having my only Bastio counter and Medicham in there. And I have one of my preset lineups, the Venusaur as a lead, because it can win the Medicham matchup. I gotta make sure not to fall for his shield baiting this time, so I resist the power up punch to start, get a Frenzy off to burn his first shield, and then I do make a mistake because I am supposed to shield that in order to win this matchup, because now he's double boosted and just going to wear me down. So I at least get his second shield out of the way to start. Not going to shield here with Venusaur at such low health. Bringing my Medi counter, Azumarill, and then I can take whatever charge move he has. And I just got to get to play rough since his shields are down, knock him out right away. And then going to have the mirror match again. But with 2 shields left for me, I'm not too concerned. Get my first play rough off pretty fast. Gonna shield his first one. Luckily, it wasn't a shield baiting tactic. Gonna get the next one off. And now at this point, I'm trying to decide if I should save a shield for Medicham since I don't know what his last Pokemon is. And I know I can take one more there. And probably should have finished it off with just Ice Beam since he's so low and I could have saved a little bit of energy. His last Pokemon's Bastiodon though, so I'm in okay shape. Would have been nice to get another Ice Beam, but with Medicham in the back, I'm going to win this match. Get a Power Up Punch since he's unshielded. Block his Stone Edge just because, and then knock it out. Tie it up 1-1. And I'm going to stick with the same team because I like the way those 3 work together, but since I led with Venusaur last time, I'm anticipating him switching to Altaria, so I'm going to go with Azumarill as the lead this time. And from the start, it is Altaria, so I'm in great shape. As a fairy type, I double resist his Dragon Breath while he single resists my Bubble, and is of course double weak to Ice Beam, so I'm going to burn his first shield there. Then I'll just tank his Sky Attack as a neutral hit since Azumarill is so tanky. And then he actually gets another one off before my next Ice Beam. I guess he'd overcharged the first one. Then I'll burn his second shield, and then I'm a little worried that he'll get to another one, but I'm able to get to another Ice Beam and knock him out. So I'm in great position here with both his shields down, and then I can go to Venusaur against his Azumarill. Have to block his Ice Beam, of course, and then I'll get to a Frenzy Plant that he can't block anymore. Almost one-hit KO it. knock it out, get some more charge for his last Pokemon, which is Medicham. So I'm in good position to finish him off with the Frenzy. That'll do a good amount of damage. Block his charge move here in case it's Ice Beam, but it's just Power Up Punch anyway. And then get to one more Frenzy, and that's GG. Come back for the win. Then the first thing I noticed with my next opponent, Alert the Corgis, that he didn't have a grass type, so I felt safe with either of my water types, and actually brought both to deal with his Skarmory and Medicham, and then I brought my Medicham to deal with his steel types. And I led with a Zoo because I was anticipating him going with a Wishcash or Medicham or even a Skarmory, and the only thing I was really worried about was Melmetal and kind of Bastiodon, and it is Melmetal, which is the worst matchup for my team right here. So I switched right away to Medicham, try and farm some energy, and get a little lucky that he took a second to switch and actually picked the wrong one, he said. So I get off Power Punch right away and had all that energy farmed for another one. Do solid damage and get a second boost, and I'm going to tank the first Mud Bomb, see how much it does, not too bad, and then get another Power Up Punch to burn his second shield, and now I'm triple boosted. And because of that, I'm going to shield my Medi here and wear it down with just counters, farm up energy for whatever comes in next. I'm kind of anticipating a Skarmory because he had said he meant to do a different switch. And I gave up the switch advantage there, which is going to be a recurring theme today. Take the first Thunderbolt, and then his charge priority makes me burn my second shield so I can get off my Thunderbolt. Knock it out, and then his Skarmory's going to have a lot of stored energy, so even though I'm resisting his flying attacks, he's going to get a second one off right away to knock me out before I can get to my Thunderbolt. But Medicham also has a lot of stored energy, gets the Power Up Punch, that's neutral, and then I have a second one ready to go, so that's the first match. Then I make the mistake of sticking with the same team since I won, even though Azumarill didn't really do anything for me. But I switched up the order to have Lantern lead against his Melmetal. And then after he had a lot of lag and had to connect to the Wi-Fi and took a little while to get going, I'm in this matchup, but I wasn't quite sure how to play it. And was kind of surprised he didn't switch out of this bad matchup for him, but he actually baited me to using my Thunderbolt right before the switch and wasted my energy on a not very effective attack. Then I get the switch into Azumarill because I win this matchup and wanted to save Medi for his Melmetal. And I get to an Ice Beam that does a good amount of damage, and then I decide to just tank the Mud Bomb since they're neutral. But he actually gets a second one off before going down, and maybe I should have shielded that because now I'm down to the yellow. Or maybe I should have farmed energy with Bubble, but I didn't want to risk another one. And then he comes back with Melmetal, and I kind of panic switched to Medi and really panic shielded since I should have known he didn't have enough time to hit this Thunderbolt. But giving up the switch advantage was the big mistake because now it's the Skarmory matchup, and I do get a Power Punch early, but I have to shield a Sky Attack before I can get to another Power Up Punch. I'll take him down to low halfway, but before one more, he knocks me out. And then Azumarill can just farm energy with Bubble to knock it out. And then another mistake here is I should have went Ice Beam since I knew he only had one shield left and he would protect his last Pokemon. Because then I end up not getting to another one that could have helped me. And he got enough energy to go for a Thunderbolt right away. And just before I'm able to knock it out, he gets one more Rock Slide to win and tie it up 1-1. And at this point, I'm a little frazzled because we're almost at the end of time for our round after the whole Wi-Fi issue. And I decided to lead with Medicham since he had been going Melmetal, but it was actually a trap because now he leads Skarmory. I should have really just went Bastiodon as a little bit of a safer lead that still beats Melmetal. And then I go for the Power-Up Punch and switch to the Bastiodon matchup. And I do get him to use some energy on a Sky Attack at least. But that allows the Wishcash matchup. So I have to shield first one so I can get to my Stone Edge. And it's a little annoying because I'm supposed to have charge priority after losing the last battle. And I'm not going to use both shields in this losing matchup. But I wanted to get to that second charge move, and I let my stubbornness get the best of me because I should have had charge priority there. And instead, the Stone Edge isn't even effective, so that was really a waste of my second shield. Bad mistake by me. And I go back to the matchup with a Zoo, but he actually had a lot of stored energy left and had not one, but two Mud Bombs stored up. And I wanted to be careful of that Skarmory matchup, but he still had the Melmetal. And again, I just gave up the switch advantage and go for the power up punch, but his second shield was still there, and I don't have mine, so really misplayed this. The Ice Beam will almost knock out the Skarmory, get some energy, but it's a fruitless effort against Melmetal that's charged up for a Thunderbolt, so he really outplayed me there. Next opponent has a really similar team to me, except I decided not to max out a Sableye. Well, I guess he didn't either, or the Bastiodon. Because of that, I didn't bring Medicham because I wasn't worried that he would use his not maxed out Bastio. So I lead Altaria in case he goes with Venusaur against my two water types. Azumarill for his Medicham and Venusaur for his Azumarill. One of my preset teams really because I was anticipating a lot of grass leads since I have two water types and I get what I want so I can farm energy here and anticipate the switch. So I'll get him locked into the Azumarill Venusaur matchup and I have to burn my first shield because an Ice Beam's coming of course, but I'm going to be beating him to Frenzy Plants since Vine Whip charges so fast. Or at least I thought I would be, but I guess he has charge move priority here, so I have to burn my second shield but I'll get his out as well. And I'm doing a lot of damage with just my fast move. And then this time I do beat him to the frenzy, knock him out. He goes back to his Venusaur for the mirror match, but I had a lot of residual energy, so I can get to the Sludge Bomb right away. And that's going to be key in all these grass matchups, even if it's neutral against opposing Venusaurs. He'll get his off, but I wore it down enough that I can finish it off with just fast moves. And then he does actually have the Bastiodon. And since that walls Altaria, I decided to just go with Azumarill before he can farm energy on me. And I'm just going to go with the faster Ice Beams here. And it's going to be a slow matchup between these tanks. And at this point, I don't know if I'm going to really get to another charge move. So I go with the higher energy, play rough, just because it has stab behind it. And I get it low enough that Altaria would be able to knock it out but Bubble's actually enough to get a simultaneous knockout, and since I had Altaria left, I win the first match. But I realize I do need Medi for the Bastio, so I go back to the lineup with the Venusaur lead, and that way if he leads with the mirror match, I'll be okay, and that's what he does. But it looks like he has Razor Leaf on his, so I can really win this mirror since I get to my charge moves faster. Decided to shield bait here since he saw how much damage Sludge Bomb did last time, and because of that, I can get to another charge move pretty fast. And I end up getting both his shields down right away. I decide to use my first one to protect my Venusaur, and I actually get him to switch into his Altaria, so now I get him locked into the Azumarill matchup without any shields on his side. He surprisingly goes with Dragon Pulse, which I double resist, but it doesn't really matter since I'm going to get to an Ice Beam that's double effective and wear it down with just Bubble, charge up energy for his Venusaur is going to come in and have the Ice Beam ready to go, and that'll almost knock it out. Then he gets me down with that Razor Leaf, but it's not too bad. And in the mirror, I'm able to actually get a play rough off since I had some energy still. And at this point, I know he's within range for a Frenzy Plant that I have stored up. So that's going to be GG for the sweep. And that'll get me to 2-1 at the halfway point before we had a little half-hour break. And that allowed me to really look at my next opponent's team, Madgoy, who actually ended up being named David as well. And he has a very meta team that I was considering, and the Hunter really concerned me, so after the long break, I decided to come in with both Bastiodon and Altaria, since they can both beat it, and then I go with Lantern to beat his Azumarill and Bastiodon if necessary, and then he does end up leading with the Haunter like I was expecting. So in this battle of a tank versus glass cannon, I can just farm energy, and then he does end up doing a switch, so I have to be quick to get to my Altaria. And I know this is going to be a power up punch because it was too fast for an ice punch. I take that first one, and then he beats me to another one, and I use a shield thinking it would be ice punch, but he baited me with it, and I burned his first shield with sky attack. And then at this point, I can't really risk ice punch there, so I have to use my second shield, and it was ice punch at least. And then I'll get another sky attack to burn his second shield, but he'll beat me to the next one, so he wins this matchup. I got it low enough that I can knock out with Lantern, and he actually switches to Skarmory, which is surprising, but I guess he knows I also have Bastiodon, so Skarmory's kind of dead meat anyway, and he gets me to use up my energy on it. So I'm about to knock it out, and then his Haunter is all charged up to do back-to-back shadow punches on me, so I don't really wear it down too much, my water gun, before I go down. And then Bastiodon can knock it out. I can take one shadow punch at least, but I need to save this energy for flamethrower against his Medicham right away. And luckily I get it off to take the first match. And then I wanted to keep him guessing, so I switch out Lantern for Venusaur as my Azu and Bastio kind of counter. And I lead with Altaria this time, which is still a winning matchup against Haunter, so he switches right away. And I'm going to get off a Sky Attack before doing a quick switch out to Bastiodon. And at this point, I actually timed it well that he got stuck with the Sky Attack there. So I got him switch locked and to use his energy, so this is about as good a start as I could hope for. But I kind of make a mistake of not farming a little bit more energy before going for the flamethrower, because now I'm stuck in the Medicham matchup and I'm just short of a flamethrower there and don't really want to use a shield in this losing matchup. So I let it go down. And then I guess I miscounted how many counters he did because I was expecting a power up punch like last time there, and now I'm dead meat. Only burn his first shield here before I go down, and I'm left with just Venusaur. And I have to shield this ice punch that's coming. And then he's actually going to get another one. And I figure I need to use a shield for Haunter. I was hoping that was just going to be a power up punch, but it doesn't really matter. I get the Frenzy, but Haunter's a losing matchup here. So GG, tied up 1-1. And I probably should have taken more time to think through my lineup. I don't really need both Bastiodon and Altaria. I go back to the Bastiodon lead in case he goes with Haunter again, but it's Medicham, so this is why I have a Azumarill, but I give up the switch advantage. Probably should have went Altaria there, but I'm going to get his first shield down, and now this is going to be a bad matchup. I have to use my shield, and then I am actually going to beat him to an Ice Beam here to burn his second shield. So I get that out of this matchup at least, but I'm not going to use another shield for Azumarill here. So I come in with Altaria to try and get it out, but I have to shield a Sludge Bomb because that'll take out like half my life. Then I'll knock it out with the Sky Attack, but he comes in with Bastiodon. This is where my bad team choice hurts me, because then I give up the switch advantage for the mirror match, and that lets him come back in with his Medi, and it's GG from here basically. I'll get off one flamethrower, but it's not going to be nearly enough. And then he has an ice punch ready to go right away, and I have no shields left, so good game. And now I'm 2-2. And my next opponent, OpenKB, I've played once before. He has an interesting team with Toxicroak, and I decided to go with Altaria in case he has that, or goes with the Venusaur lead I've been facing. Then Bastiodon for Skarmory and Azumarill, and Medicham as a generalist here. And it is the Venusaur matchup, so I'm in good shape to start. So I'm going to farm some energy and then force the switch. I did get trapped into the Sky Attack, but that's okay. I can switch into Bastiodon still and get this matchup again. And this time I am going to farm more energy, so I do end up having to take a Flash Cannon here because of that. But I go for the Flamethrower, and then you'll see I still have half of a charge for the next one coming up already. And that's going to come in for his Azumarill. So I have to get to a Stone Edge, and that'll do a decent amount of damage since he doesn't shield it here. And I can take whatever he hits me with here because I resist both its charge moves unless it was Hydro Pump. I was basically counting on it not being. And then I'm just short of another Stone Edge. That's disappointing. But Altaria has two shields here, so I can protect against an Ice Beam. And then he actually has another one before I can get to my Sky Attack. So now I'm shieldless, but I'm in the lead 2 Pokemon to none after this. And it's just the Venusaur left. So I do have to take a Sludge Bomb here, but I can do a good amount of damage with Dragon Breath. And then I'm just short of a Sky Attack again. But I'm in okay shape because I have Medicham at full health. And I'm going to use Power Punch just to burn his shield and get my boost so that I can knock it out with counter. I do take a Sludge Bomb, but it's not a big deal. And that's match 1. And I switch out Altaria for Azumarill as a better option against his Skarmory, and it'd be even against Toxicroak if he brings that. And I switch to Bastiodon lead in case he goes with Skarmory, anticipating my Altaria from last time. And then surprisingly, he sticks with his Venusaur lead. And I should lose this if he uses both shields, but I have pretty good IVs on my Bastiodon, so I'm going to see how it plays out to start. And I have to use my first shield against the Frenzy Plant. and get off the flamethrower, and I try to go for the quick switch here, but it doesn't work for some reason. I don't know if I waited too long, got stuck in the smackdown duration, but because of that I decided to play it out, and I'm gonna have to use the second shield if I want to win this because he's so low, and I at least get him to burn both shields as well, and I'm able to knock it out with smackdown surprisingly. So I have a little bit of charge for whatever comes in next, and it's a Zoomeril. So I want to get to the Stone Edge, but it doesn't go off, and that's going to be huge here. I have to go to the mirror match with a little bit of health advantage, but he has a lot of energy stored. So he gets to play rough, and I'll get to mine. We're both out of shields here, so it's going to be play roughs the whole way. And I'm not sure if I'm going to win this, and I'm thinking, what does he have as his third Pokemon for my Medicham? And it don't knock it out, so he's gonna get me out here because of that energy advantage he had earlier. And Mancham will get a little bit of energy, but his last Pokemon's Skarmory, and I can't really win this matchup without any shields. So we're gonna have to go into match 3 tied up and think about what to use. Man, that Stone Edge not going off for Bastio or even getting the switch to start really messed me up. But I end up going back to Altaria as a lead since he's gone Venusaur both times, and Lantern to better deal with his Skarmory, and Medicham as a generalist in case he goes Bastiodon. And it's a good matchup against Lantern to start. I'm going to have to use Shield here because Thunderbolt hits me pretty hard surprisingly. And I bait out the Shield with Sky Attack since I charged up to Dragon Pulse there. And then at this point, I'm just going to go for it again and actually get out his second shield. And done a lot of damage to Dragon Breath to start, so I'm going to go with both shields here as well. Store up a lot of energy as I knock it out with Dragon Breath. And then here's where I make my mistake, because it's Skarmory, and I get scared off into the Lantern matchup. But again, I gave up the switch advantage here. I should have just used Sky Attack because I could have gone to another one before he knocks me out. Instead, I have to use a not very effective Thunderbolt and then lose my only Skarmory counter here. I do knock him out with Sky Attack, but then he has Skarmory charged up to waste the rest of my energy that I had stored on Altaria. And without any shields, Medicham's kind of toast here again. It takes a second here to get to my Power Up Punch that gives me the boost, and I thought I might be able to knock it out with the boosted counters, but he barely holds on. GG. My last opponent has what's basically become the standard team. I'm going to go with Altaria to deal with that Haunter again, Venusaur for his 2 water types, and then Azumarill for his Medicham, Wishcash, and kind of a Skarmory counter. And he ends up going with Haunter. So it's a good matchup like I was hoping for. I was really tempted to use a Haunter of my own, but it's just so frail. I already got it down to halfway health with just Dragon Breath. And I take the first Shadow Punch and get him to burn first shield. Now I have to burn my first shield because I'm going to knock it out with Dragon Breath here and get charged up for his next move. And it's a Azumarill, so I can use a Sky Attack right away and burn his second shield before doing a quick switch to Venusaur. And I get him to stay in since he has an Ice Beam ready, use my second shield before he switches out, and I end up using my Frenzy Plant there, which isn't great, but I do have a little bit of energy to get to a Sludge Bomb first, and that'll almost knock it out. He does get one off of his own, but I'm able to knock it out with Vine Whip. Basically have another Frenzy ready to go so I can knock him out without having to do my Azu mirror match. So GG. For the next match, I stick with the same 3. I had those 3 as a preset lineup for a reason, but I do go with the Venusaur lead this time in case he goes with the Azumarill to counter my Altaria from last time. But it's actually going to be Medicham, which is a decent matchup for me. I should win with shields as long as I don't fall for his bait, so I'm not going to shield the Power Up Punch here. And then I'll get to the Frenzy Plant that burns his first shield, and I'll get to another Frenzy Plant here. Well, I have to shield his Ice Punch first, and then I'll get to the Frenzy Plant since he had charge priority since I won the last battle. And I can get to one more Frenzy Plant before he gets to his next move. So I got out both his shields and the lead. And then against the mirror match, I'm actually able to get to a Sludge Bomb right before going down. It does a good amount of damage, and then he's just going to store energy against me. And I almost got a Frenzy Plant, but it's alright. I have Altaria, and I have to shield the Sludge Bomb here. And he actually charged up enough for a Frenzy Plant, which doesn't do a lot of damage to me, but still works a little bit. Knock it out, I have stored energy, and go for the Sky Attack right away. And then I'm not gonna be able to get to another one, but I wore it down a little bit, so I'll have the advantage of the mirror match since he used up all his energy in the ice beam, and we'll just be doing player ups right away. He'll get to the first one from charge priority again, but again with this health lead, I'm not gonna be concerned here. So I'm gonna end up finishing 3-3. Not quite as good as I hoped, but still a nice showing. It was a great event. Thanks again to the PokeGatrs for hosting and putting on an awesome event. And congrats to trainer AJG and One Shot Paul for making it undefeated to the finals. As I mentioned in my last video, I practiced with Alex on the left there, so seeing him finish up undefeated and get to the top 20 in the global leaderboard was awesome. Excuse my shaky camera work in the final video. It was very intense and quiet in that room.
Please kill you.